to the fourth vlog on this YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about my trip to London. First of all, I'd like to say that this trip was really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with my friends and we visited all these famous places. So yeah, it was just a really nice vacation and I would really like to do it again. But what did we do? So, the trip lasted 3 days. The first day I had to wake up at around 5 am because I had to be at the Wenningham shopping center at around 5:30 because the buses were leaving at around 6 am. So when everybody got there, when we got our luggage on the buses, we headed for Calais. After a couple hours we arrived in Calais where we took the ferry to go to the British Isles. Once we arrived, after about a 1.5 hour ferry ride, we arrived in Great Britain. Then we drove off to the Hampton Court Palace, where we had our first stop. At the Hampton Court Palace we divided in small groups so we could visit this amazing palace more easily. We started at the kitchens of Hampton Court Palace, and it was really interesting because you could see all these old interiors and these old kitchens. So that was just really interesting. Then we visited the newest part of the castle. We weren't unfortunately not able to visit the entire castle because there wasn't enough time. But I just really enjoyed the place. After that, we had to arrive to the center of London, where our hostel was located. After about 2 hours of driving, we arrived at the hostel, where we had to unpack our luggage and prepare our room for the night. After about 45 minutes of unpacking our luggage and preparing our room, we had to go out to get some lunch. We ate at a restaurant really close to the Tower of London, called the Minories. It was just an amazing pub, the food was delicious and I just had a really fun time there. So after we ate there, it was time for our Jack the Ripper tour. We met the guide right in front of the restaurant, who would guide us around London and tell us more about the famous serial killer called Jack the Ripper. After a walk that lasted about 1 to 1.5 hours, it was time to go to bed, so we headed back to the hostel. The second day we had to wake up really early because we had to go to breakfast at around half past 7. The breakfast was really nice. We had a lot of food that was really delicious. I really enjoyed it. After breakfast it was time to go for our London City walk. Everybody in our class had prepared a little text that they would tell us about a famous tourist destination in the centre of London. I had to talk about Covent Garden and the district of Soho. The London City Walk was just really interesting in general because you learned a lot about all these famous buildings, and you could also see them, which was really fascinating. Unfortunately, the Elizabeth Tower, also called the Big Ben, we weren't able to see it because it was covered because they were working on it. Which was really unfortunate. After the city walk, we had about 45 minutes to eat something. After we ate, we went to our museum that we chose beforehand. I chose the British Museum. It was just a really fun museum, not only because I went there with my friends Elias, Jonathan and Alexander, but it was also about history, and I really like history. I learned a lot about the Egyptian period, the Roman period and the Mesopotamian period. It's really interesting to walk through these halls and to see all these old and ancient artifacts. This just gave you a glimpse about the past, and I really enjoyed that. After the museum we had about 2 to 2.5 hours of free time, so me and my friends we went to visit the biggest Lego shop in the world, the M&M World shop, and we also went to the biggest toy shop in the world called Hamleys. After that we ate some food in a restaurant, and then it was already time to meet up with the other students at Covent Garden because we were going to watch the musical The Lion King. I really enjoyed this musical because the costumes were really enjoyable. Also the songs that they sang were really nice, and I just really enjoyed the play in general. I think it was really well made. After the musical, our second day was already over, so we took the underground back to our hostel. The third day and also the last day in London, we started off by packing our luggage again, so we could place it on the bus. But first, before we left, we visited the Tower of London. This was just really fascinating because we were able to see the crown jewels. They were just really cool and interesting to see because I've always wanted to see them. After the Tower of London we ate at the St. Catherine's Dock. It was a little food market. I ate a really delicious hamburger there together with my friends. It was one of the best hamburgers I've ever eaten in my life. After we ate at St. Catherine's, it was already time to head back home. So that was my vlog about the London city trip. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!